Right, hi everyone. We're going to be continuing with CodeCombat. Last week we reached the rangefinder level, and completed the rangefinder level. So we're going to be looking at the next 7 levels up to the wizard's door, because that's where the math stuff starts. So there's actually not much to go over. All I really wanted to look at was this one, because it has Boolean greater than or less, so that's peasant protection. So I'll just play that, and there's really not much. I'm just going to talk about one little bit, and that is in the if statement there appears this little arrow here. So you'll be familiar with this from maths. This is your less than sign, and well, you've also got the greater than sign, if we don't need that here. So this is saying if the distance is less than 10, whatever 10 in-game units are, but less than 10, it will attack the enemy. And then if it's not, so if it's 10 or more, you're going to run this else bit and you will move instead. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Just remember the left one is less. A couple of people sometimes get confused about that. The way I remember it is left is less. A bit stupid, but maybe that will help you. I'm going to go back. There's one other thing I want to show, and that is, this is actually a little bit tricky. That's why I want to show it. Village Rover, it uses functions. Now, functions, wait for it to pop up. There's quite a lot to take in here. Functions is when you make a little chunk of code you're going to reuse a lot, and you give it a name so you can run all those lines of code in one word. So here, I can't remember how much it starts off for you or how much you have to finish, but here there is something called def, which just means define, find and attack enemy. So find and attack enemy is the command we are making here. And in that, we make a variable which finds the enemy, and then if the enemy is in front of them, you attack. Now, rather than writing these lines all the time, because you're going to be using them a lot, if you just write find and attack enemy, then you will use it. So what happens when you run the program, it reads in this, okay, it registers find and attack enemy as a thing, but when you get to here, so it's going to keep repeating, and you move to there, and then it runs find and attack enemy, and now your code will actually jump back up here and run those lines. Then it jumps back to where it was, and then it continues, you move again, and then you run that bit, and you jump up here and you run those lines, and then you go back round and you just keep going round like that. I know it's a little bit tricky. I think if you actually run the game, it highlights it for you, so I'll try that so we can see as it's working. Did I just make that up? Yeah, I think, oh no, there it is, it's highlighting. So we're moving, and then there's no enemy there, so we move. And then it's actually happening so quick you can barely see it happening. As soon as it gets find and attack enemy, it just jumps straight to this bit and then runs all of those lines really quickly and attacks the enemy. So hopefully that helps. If you do struggle with this, please let me know. Just send me an email, message me on Teams or whatever, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And the goal for this week is friend info, to reach that and finish that. You can start the math stuff early if you wanted. We might do the math stuff next week, or thinking we might take a little break from CodeCombat and come back to that later, just so you don't get bored. But the goal is friend info, so that is 7 levels since rangefinder. So just attach your screenshots to the assignment, or if you struggle to do that, you can just dump them in the chat if you want. Right, thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.